Hi everyone. Brittany and Kara here, hopping on to this live coffee and cards. It's been a hot minute since we've been on here. Hey Kara,
Yeah. We don't even know we had to just decide what day it was. We don't even know what day it is.
what month is it? What day? We've been going through some beautiful transformations and changes. And I actually believe many people have been going through those transformational changes the last little bit. So
100%. Yeah.
this alignment feels perfect. We're hopping on today to connect in with you all in relation to the collective charges that we're all experiencing. And so we'd love to start with a collective card pull. And while we were starting the video here, we are diving into two decks today. So I'd like to share those first because if you like them, you might want to purchase them for yourself. We have the Akashic Tarot,
I like
and
that.
this is powerful for connecting in with our own Akasha cell memory. And then we have the Energy and Spirit Oracle. So, where we're pulling from, we got two powerful cards right off the hop. Our first initiation card is the Buddha Prepares. The Buddha Prepares is all about coming inward, reflecting inward, finding discernment, listening to your inner voice, your inner compass, your heart's knowing. Coinciding this card, we have Beneath the Surface. I like this card. Hidden truths, exposing, illuminating, unveiling. These are powerful consecutive cards to work with because our Buddha's preparation is learning how to fine tune our inner truth, to bring up what is beneath our own surface. So many of us are witnessing this as our own shakeups, fair to say, Kara, our internal shakeups
Yeah.
with what's exposing. And we're witnessing that on a micro level and then on a macro level. Before I go deeper into that, Kara, anything you want to fine tune to those energetics?
Well, I think that, it's obviously we pulled those cards before we pressed record and we were talking about different things just that we're noticing ourselves within our own practices, like our own individual practices, but then also, we talked about people who we have worked with or are working with as far as like client base, reaching
Mhm.
out and different things that people are experiencing. And really the overall theme right now, even that I'm seeing in like, external media sources and things,
Yeah.
is like this illumination of truth and how, I believe we've been on this journey obviously for a long time, but it feels like everything's really getting heightened right now as far as, we're starting to see through the cracks of different systems and how, and how we've shown up in those systems. So I think these cards are good for that way because, sometimes we think about like these hidden truths that are out there, but really it's like so much of it is like these hidden truths that are within ourselves as well. So I like where you're going with it.
I love it. It's kind of like it feels like the pressure cooker
Yeah.
is popping.
Yeah.
That rice is done and
Hasn't
it's
it been
ready
like
to
that
come.
though forever? But yes, I agree. It's like intensifying.
That's a fair way to put it. It has felt like that for
Yeah.
years and years.
Yeah.
Um, are you ready to actually face these inner selves and expose them, illuminate them?
Yeah.
And I like speaking with the micro and the macro on that. We all go through our own experiences, but when we take a look at the collective scale, we're all experiencing it to some degree. It's just showing up in different ways, different processing. The
Absolutely.
next card, the journey guide, is about change in location. And I take this card as our own change in perception
Mhm.
with what we're connecting to on this collective spread. So it's to shift what we're ready to discern within ourselves. Maybe we have to be willing to look at that in a new light, a new way, so that we can come into self allowance, self acceptance, self reflection to the way that the energy may be its own form of truth.
Yeah.
I feel that when we apply that to our own internal compass, oftentimes that's what we need to break those cycles or patterns, right? So that we can
Yeah.
come into an awareness of maybe where we've been operating from delusion or illusion within ourselves, which
100%.
is a really powerful piece and empowering piece, but also very exposing piece. I
Yeah,
feel you have
100%.
something to add to that, Kara.
Well, no, I was just thinking. So I had that retreat last week in Sedona, and when I was doing my like preparation for one of the workshops, I came across this quote, and it said, "You can't heal from the story that you're continuing to tell." And this feels relevant because, and we've all done it. I mean, absolutely, where we become really identified with part of our story. So that could be, like my parent died when I was a certain age, and that has created, whatever X, Y, and Z in my life. And I think that, like, if we're constantly identifying to a story, which could also be like the government's bad, this is right, this is wrong, whatever these stories are, if we're continuously living by this and identifying our lives and decisions we've made by like a story, then we're still like we just keep giving our power away to the external to like dictate whether we feel connected to ourselves and peaceful and have a regulated nervous system, or whether we don't. And so I think this is a big thing because and I'm not saying that there aren't like powers that be that are, making some nefarious decisions, and that there aren't nefarious things happening in the world, because we know there are, and we know that there's a lot of light being shed on that right now as well. Um, but sorry, I just had that funny memory of the voice memo you left me, and you were talking about the 31 Atlas. Anyway, it just made me laugh
Yeah.
because you were like, Katy Perry, 31 Atlas. Anyway, it doesn't mean there isn't like crazy things happening in the external, because of course there is, but like, how are we perceiving them, and what do we make it mean about us? And I think that that
Right.
is like what we keep trying to like drive home about like our mission for Blue Lotus is like, people, we have to start taking responsibility for how we're perceiving things, how we're adapting our life because of external things. Like, all like we have to start taking responsibility. Period. That's it.
So powerful. And it's funny you brought up about the three-eye atlas because, I'm a very symbolic person, everyone who doesn't know me. So I like to look at things in the context of symbolism. And that's part of what we were talking about with that channeled message was, the third eye, which
Yeah.
is what we're connecting to right now with that inner awareness.
Right.
Funny enough, that was the next card I picked while you were speaking
That's so
was
funny.
your eternal spirit, your higher self, and it was inverted.
Okay.
So that card is showing right in our inner vision. It's like, where are we seeing, or what perceptive lens are we seeing from? And
Right.
I think what you just spoke to in that as well is like, this is where we have to really fine tune as well what we're giving or we're harnessing our power to,
Yeah.
and allowing it to hold resonance over ourselves.
Yeah.
Taking that self accountability, that self awareness, that self acceptance is a reclamation of that power within self. So
Uh-huh.
it may sting when we witness where we've given those powers to the external forces, whatever they may be, but
Yeah.
it's also empowering to liberate that and bring that back into our
Right.
own compass of discernment.
100%.
Hmm.
And that's like, I'm gonna just like like side note the like the funny memes I was sending you about the Halloween costumes.
Right.
I don't know if anybody else has seen this, but there's like, the spiritual influencer, the shaman, I don't know what, like the tantric bro or whatever. And it's like it was a visual of like the costume, then it like gave the attributes. And I read them all, and I could see so many parts of myself that fell into that, and like how I portrayed myself or bought into somebody else portraying themselves that way. And I went through like, well, first of all, I laughed because it's like it was all so hilarious and bang on. And then there was like a shame piece that came up of like, oh my gosh, I can't believe like I fell for that. I can't believe like that I bought into this, like, the like, yeah, anyway, all of that. And we were just talking about that and talked about how important it is to like, like find humor in it, because we're all human and we're like figuring it out as we go. But like finding compassion for
Yes.
yourself of like, it's okay. Like we're all seeking, right? We're on a path seeking. And what we don't realize is that like what we're seeking for is really just connection to ourselves, and that we have the answers ourselves, that like, we don't have answers for people. We can ask questions to help guide people to their own inner guidance, but we don't know what's best for people. So I think that's all part of this card read of like, we're so focused on the external and waiting for, somebody to tell us how to like handle a situation or what to do, be it government, like Western medicine, whatever it is. It's like, no, we make the decision, and then our life begins to ripple out from that.
And that's it. It's learning how to
Yeah.
discern it. Like you said, right? If we're identifying with certain
Yeah.
masks, then is that truth?
Right.
Or is that a bought truth? Right. And I think that you touching into that is, and we, that's where we just had a giggle with each other because we're like, yes, we've seen these parts in ourselves and coming to that recognition that like that's not who you are actually to your core. It could be a version of if you
Of
choose
course.
it.
Yeah.
Yeah, it
Yeah.
could be a good story character,
Yeah.
absolutely.
Of course.
But they are, it's almost these illusionary bought truths. I
Yeah.
always come back to and I feel this is, important to bring up where it's like even in indigenous culture where it's like I've heard of how they reference it to souls sold. And that really struck for me where it's like where are we selling or creating those masks of ourselves to be bought
Right.
instead of who we are in that truth and that resonance to the core. Because part of how I understand what enlightenment really is, it's like your energy does the work. Right.
Right.
So, in other words, your frequency, you don't have to, you can be wearing a garbage bag and, that coherence is felt. You don't have to be seen, heard, or witnessed on a social platform because that resonance is felt.
Mhm.
And that's an empowering space for us all to come into
Yeah.
to really strip down
Yeah.
those imprints of where we in essence have sold ourselves.
Right. Like the performativeness.
Yes,
And
yeah.
it makes sense. We've all had to perform at different parts of our lives to receive validation, to receive love. We've had to act certain ways. So I mean, it all makes sense, but I think that this is the essence of this, like, we're talking about this card pull and the hidden truths. It's like what you just said. It's like it doesn't need to look a certain way, you know? It doesn't have to look a certain
That's the
way.
biggest illusion of them all.
Yeah, and I bought it. I mean, I certainly bought into that. It had to look a certain way. I absolutely did. And I think there's such liberation when you realize, like, it doesn't have to look a certain way.
And we all have, right? Like that's also a form of our cultural conditioning, right? When you're a child, like look at even, as our teenage self, for example,
Yeah,
right? Where that's the cool thing to do. I always think of even the thing with the coat. Don't wear a coat, when you're a
I know.
kid, because
Yeah,
you want to look cool, where it's like,
yeah,
dude, it's freezing outside. Why are you not wearing
yeah.
a coat
Right.
and bundling up? So it
Yeah,
starts so young for us. It's embedded
100%.
so young for us.
Right. Which is to be accepted by the collective, right? Which is to be accepted by our family, our tribe. It's all very like root
Yeah.
chakra. So I mean, it makes sense. And I think that, when we were talking before we pressed record, it was like, um, as I said, like, our entire intention and prayer for Blue Lotus is, to create this container where people can come in as they are, wherever they are in their journey, and learn tools on how to, in my mind, which is like regulate your nervous system. So you did that amazing workshop on the weekend. It's like I honestly believe that if you know how to regulate your nervous system, you are in charge of your life, because
Mhm.
like you're in charge. It's like when people are being untruthful, because it's a frequency, like because you're so embodied in who you are and so anchored that like nothing can mess with you. And so anyway, like I just feel like there's so many good nuggets in that forum of like the tools are there. It's just like
Yeah.
we have to just take responsibility. That's it.
Yeah.
Yeah,
And learn to, harness them within ourselves. And that's the whole point of
exactly.
the forum being there.
Yeah, exactly. Can you pull one more card as
I
like
actually
a,
pulled two
oh, you did? Okay, great.
with what you were speaking to. So that was the card of releasing attachment. So you can see her in a spider web or the matrix system where it's like to fine tune shifting our lenses of perception, we have to be willing to let go of the attachment, which
Okay.
is where we identify with, our, I call
Yeah.
it egoic self, right? It's
Yeah.
the parts of us that we want to hold on
Yeah.
to, which really like, what are those actual parts?
The
And
identification
behind
piece.
that, where we do, sorry?
Sorry, just like how we identify or
Oh,
how
I
we
think it
want to be
works.
identified. Yeah.
Yeah. And then the card unveiling that. So like, what's the deeper root to attachment? Uncontrolled feelings. So
Mm,
our feeling body, you know, is that space of where we create these attachments.
right.
Powerful.
Right. Which is the nervous system, right? It's like the emotional body. If the emotional
Yes.
body is triggered and if we don't know how to regulate, then I mean, in my opinion, all bets are off. It's like going to just ripple out into like whatever synchronicity that's not going to feel good.
Yes.
Mhm.
And I think the biggest part of this card as well with that expression, it's like to heal our nervous system and to come into a fine tune with it, we have to be willing to be truthful with uncomfortable feelings and emotions, because
Yeah.
those feelings and emotions are the triggering point to why we gravitate or attach to certain masks of illusion, right? Because they keep us safe.
Right.
If the nervous system doesn't feel safe, it's going to attach on to a egoic form so that it doesn't have to feel it. It doesn't have to acknowledge it. It doesn't have to be in its truth because it's uncomfortable or it's painful. Our
Right.
survival system has been created that way as a form of protection.
Yeah.
In this case scenario, you know, with how we feel within ourselves, though, it's not actually protection because it keeps us from ourselves.
Exactly.
It
Yeah.
protects us from ourselves and our truth.
And
Mhm.
and I'm going to say that there's a lot of very influential systems in our lives that know that know that, you
Yeah.
know, when people are in fear, they can be really easily led in different directions. So, I mean, own your nervous system, own your life, like literally. So, yeah,
Yeah. So,
that's
Kara, maybe for the month of November, we'll set intent to fine tune our meditations
yeah,
and yeah, our weekly
yeah.
meditations to this processing.
I think that's a great idea. Yeah, we're going to do a meditation tonight. So, if anybody happens to be listening to this, and if you're not in the collective, make sure that there's the link below for dropping in because I think I will do some nervous system regulation as well tonight. It'll
That
be
feels
good.
good.
Maybe some heart coherence, you know, like really getting into the body.
Lovely.
Love it.
That was a
Okay,
good
so
spread.
I mean, that's great. We'll see how the week goes, and then we're going to meet next Monday. So this is our intention to connect every Monday in this way and just do little updates and shares. And yeah, that's it.
We look forward to hearing how this connects for you. If you have any questions about the form, reach out to Kara and myself. And we're going to be sure, you know, we've had a lot of you reaching out on an individual basis. So we're going to start to fine tune some collective videos that we're going to put up on the Blue Lotus that connects them with these topics. So we can really start to, you know, have the open conversations with all of you.
100%. Love it.
Feels
Okay,
good.
Britt, have a great day. And thanks
You
everybody
too.
for watching and listening. And we'll see you next Monday.
See you in the blue.
Bye.
Bye.